iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office, it's open, my friends. All right, let's take a look at some baseball news and notes. This was very interesting, and this was on our show today. Chelsea Janes of the Washington Post predicted in an interview on Fantasy Sports Radio Friday, that was on Scout Fantasy Sports, mind you, that Koda Glover will be the Nationals closer by mid-season. Interesting. She said that he had a bear claw tattooed on his chest. She said that he was the kind of guy that the Nationals wanted to grow with, and that Sean Kelly, who I happen to like, and I know Adam Ronis does as well, she's worried that the Nationals think that he's not built to last, too fragile. And that's why right now the deal with David Robertson's dead. Right? The deal with Robertson is dead. Could it come back? Absolutely. Will it come back? We don't know. So, something else I want to discuss. This time of year, fantasy owners are going to freak out. Why are you going to freak out? Marcell Ozuna nursing some tightness in his shoulder. Right? Jeff Locke undergoes an MRI. Adrian Beltre will do some jogging. Basically, you're getting a lot of reports, and they're not necessarily good. They're news. Why? Beat writers are covering everything in regards to teams. They're covering everything. This guy's got a cuticle out of place. Everything's under a microscope. It's spring training. Everything is under a microscope. So they're watching every single thing. This guy won't play. He's got a little bit of a sprained ankle. Sprained ankle, what's going on? Oh my God, fantasy, everybody's freaking out. Freaking out. Relax, breathe, calm. I never freak out until this time next month. If it's March 24th, I'll freak out. February 24th, I'm not freaking out. February 24th, I'm okay. Because I don't need my guy to be playing day one. In fact, I don't need my guy. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, Mike Napoli had the greatest spring training I've ever seen. I went to see 2 or 3 Red Sox games. In both games, he hit mammoth home runs. I'm not talking about little home runs. I'm talking about mammoth home runs that went from like Fort Myers to Punta Gorda. That's how good they were. And it was Mike Napoli's worst season. It was his worst season. So what did I learn about spring training? Very little. That it didn't matter because Mike Napoli couldn't get a hit. So that's the problem. You can't trust what we see in spring training. It doesn't always work out that way. Spring training, regular season, 2 different things. So I don't panic. If my guy doesn't get 125 at-bats, I'm okay with that. I just want my guys to play about 10 days before the start of the season. Why? Because when the season starts, I want them to be in a little bit of a groove. I want them to be at the plate. I want them to be in a groove. If they're pitchers, I want them pitching into the 5th or 6th inning. I don't need 7 or 8. I don't want 3. I want the wheels to be turned. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. I want the wheels to be in motion. So that is what I'm hoping. That I don't get all this information. I process it. I take it. I bring it in. I digest it. That said, I don't need to do any more with it. Okay? John Farrell disappointed in Rusney Castillo? Okay, I get it. I'm disappointed in Rusney Castillo too. But what am I going to do with that information? I'm going to file it in my memory banks. I'm going to say to myself, all right, Let me think about that the next time I see Rusney Castillo play, but I'm not going to worry. Now, if it's March 24th and they send them down, I know what's happening. That's why you should do most of your drafts later. Don't do drafts in February. We might do industry drafts in February because we want people to see what's going on, right? We want people to see what we're thinking. But outside of that, I don't know. Outside of that, there's no other reason to be doing a draft in February unless all your friends can't get together in March or April. If you guys are so busy that you can't get together in March or April, then fine, do one in February. But otherwise, don't do it. Okay. There was a problem with my podcast that I did for the Colorado Rockies, so I'm doing it again. I'm doing my Rockies podcast again. And here it is. So for you, it's the first time. For me, it's the second. Hopefully, I'll do it better the second time. Catcher, Tom Murphy. You know who Tom Murphy was? He was my middle school science teacher. Hey, Mr. Murphy. What's up, dude? But Tom Murphy's also a pretty good catcher. And I think he gets about 350 to 400 at-bats this year. And I like him. I do. I like him a lot. I think he hits about 270 with about 12 to 16 home runs. I have no problem with Tom Murphy. First base, Ian Desmond. Now, here's my thoughts on Ian Desmond. Here's my thoughts. First of all, I worry. I worry. A guy who changes his position 3 times in as many years. So, watch. Ian Desmond's a really good hitter. So let's not worry about that. 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, write it in, boom, we're good. What am I worried about? He has a bad play at first base, and now he's the second guy up in the play the next inning. What is Ian Desmond thinking about? He's thinking about the error he just had last inning. He's thinking about that error. What is he not thinking about? Getting a hit. That's why I don't like guys who change positions. Because baseball is a game where I don't want guys thinking too much. I want them reacting. I don't want them thinking. And I really don't want them overthinking. Overthinking, bad. Thinking, good. Overanalyzing, bad. And I worry about Ian Desmond. But he's a 4th round pick. In any draft you're doing, he's absolutely and unequivocally a 4th round pick. And I really like him in the 4th round. I have no problem taking him in the 4th round. He's my kind of 4th round guy. Next, DJ LeMahieu. I just like saying that name, LeMahieu. You know what? You don't realize how good he is. I don't think you realize how good he is. You know what his numbers were last year? He hit 348. 11 home runs, 66 RBIs, 104 runs scored, and 11 stolen bases. That's pretty darn good. And he only did it in 552 at-bats, by the way. So, can he sustain 348? No chance. No chance. But he's certainly a 315, 320 hitter. Do I think that there's power there? That I worry about. I don't know whether he's a double-digit home run kind of guy. I'm not so sure about that. I think that he's more of a 7 to 10 guy and a 7 to 10 steals. But the average is there and the runs scored are there. Those 2 categories are there for sure. So I like him a little bit. The next guy, Trevor Story. Very interesting player to me. Very interesting player. First of all, Trevor Story is a guy who is going to go in the 3rd round of your drafts for one reason, his injury. He had thumb surgery, right, because he had a torn UCL in his thumb, which I'd never heard of before, but obviously it happens. But look at his numbers from last year. He was wildly successful. 372 at-bats, 27 home runs and 8 stolen bases. Hit 272. Now, I don't like projecting out, but I think I will here. If he had another 200 at-bats, would he have 15 more home runs? Would he have 7 more stolen bases? Maybe. So, you could be getting a guy who's hitting 270 with 35 home runs and 15 stolen bases in the 3rd round? Are you kidding me? In the 3rd round? Why wouldn't I want that kind of guy? Why wouldn't I want him? You would want him 100%. But there are people out there that are going to pass on him. Oh, the injury. Oh, he only did it one time. Trevor Story is what I refer to as a winning pick. If you take him and he's as good as we think he is, you just got a first-round pick in the third round. Congratulations, my man. You just won your league. That's how good a pick he is. And I think you have to be willing to go that distance in order to win. I've always believed that. Third base is Nolan Arenado. This guy is good. This guy is a great hitter. If you ask me, hey, Dr. Roto, give me the kind of guy who can win a Triple Crown in the National League, I would tell you his name is Nolan Arenado. Guy always hits 280 or above. 40-some-odd home runs, 130 RBIs. I mean, come on. So he doesn't steal bases. So neither do I. Come on, give me a break. But this guy can hit. This guy can hit for sure. I'm a huge, huge fan of Nolan Arenado. Now, would I take Chris Bryant first? I might. I think Chris Bryant can hit 50 home runs where I think Arenado is more like 42. I think Chris Bryant can steal 12 bases where I think Arenado is going to steal 2. That said, we are splitting hairs. We are splitting microscopic hairs. Love me some Nolan Arenado. In the outfield, I'm going to give you 4 outfielders. First of all, I'm going to give you Gerardo Parra. I think Gerardo Parra is going to be the 4th outfielder because he is the best defensive outfielder of the bunch. And I think that he needs to be able to play behind Dahl, behind Gonzalez, behind Blackman, whatever needs to happen. I think Parra is a guy who will get 1 to 2 at-bats a game, and he will probably get 300 at-bats if nobody gets injured. He'll play a game for Dahl, he'll play a game for Cargo. You know, he'll get his at-bats during the season. But, I mean, he's nothing more than like a $1 guy in an NL-only league. But I want to talk about their starting outfield. First of all, David Dahl. David Dahl is going to be a great player. Now, that problem is it may not be 2017. It may be 2019. Right? It may be 2019. But I want him now because I think he's on the precipice of being terrific. Right? I think he's there. So I want him on my team now to get me 12 to 15 home runs and 12 to 15 stolen bases. But in a dynasty league, I really want him because this guy could be 25 home runs, 25 stolen bases. So right now is like the last time to get David Dahl inexpensively. Because any moment after this, you're going to have to pay a lot more. Right? There's going to be no sales on David Dahl after this year. Next, Charlie Blackmon. Charlie Blackmon is what I like to call a 4.5 category player. First of all, he should hit for a good average somewhere between, I would say, 285 and 315. Secondly, he should have somewhere around 20 home runs and 70 RBIs. And more importantly, he had 17 stolen bases last year, but they say they want him to run more. I think he could have 30 this year. So if he hits 20 to 25 home runs, steals 20 to 25 bases, scores 100 runs, hits for like 315, so he only has 72 RBIs, I can live with it. That's a pretty darn good player. That is a 5-tool player. That is a 5-category star who I might take over Josh Donaldson or Anthony Rizzo. I might, especially in a 15-team league where I want to get good outfielders. I like Anthony Rizzo. I like Josh Donaldson. But Charlie Blackmon, 5 categories. Those other guys are not. Those other guys are 3 to 4. Finally, Carlos Gonzalez. So I want to talk about him, please. Cargo is never a guy that I've ever had on my team. It's not that he's not a good player. He is. I just believe the following. One day, the bottom is going to fall out on Carlos Gonzalez. One day. And I don't want to be left holding the bag on that day. That's how I feel. I feel when I draft him, when I buy him at the auction, that's going to be the year that he disappoints. So my rule is I will never draft him. I'll never get him, so that way I'm never disappointed. Will I miss out on 280? Will I miss out on 25 home runs and 85 RBIs? I will. But I'm going to be okay with that because I don't want to be left holding the bag if he starts to slow down. Because then I'm going to be really upset. The only thing about that, though, is if I do that, I probably can trade him because he is Carlos Gonzalez. Now, let's get to the Rockies pitching staff. Firstly, I like Adam Ottavino. I think he fits what we've been calling the effector. Ottavino will start the year as closer. Why? Because Greg Holland is not ready. Okay? Greg Holland is not ready. And then, once Holland is ready, Ottavino will become the 2-inning guy. Right? He'll become the guy who does 1 or 2 innings, the effector. They'll bring him in the 7th inning, the 8th inning, the 9th inning, whenever they need him to get a couple of outs because he's got really good stuff. But Ottavino should get the saves until the All-Star break, and then I think it's Greg Holland. Greg Holland is going to have a rough patch the first month or so as he works his way back from injury, but then I think by the All-Star break, I think he's the closer. So I'm all in on Ottavino. I'm mostly in on Holland. I'm going to draft Holland, I'm going to stick him on my reserve squad, and I'm going to hope that he ends up with the job at some point. But I may have to cut him before then, which I don't want to do, but I might have to do that. Ottavino, I'm going to draft right away in rounds 15 through 18 in my draft, and I'm hoping to get him. Here's another guy, Jake McGee. Jake McGee was a very good pitcher when he played for the Tampa Bay Rays. He had a very good season, but he's fallen off since then. But I still like Jake McGee, and I want you to keep your eyes on him because I don't like the 5th starter in Colorado. The 5th starter in Colorado stinks, so instead of doing starters in Colorado, let's look at the bullpen. I like Holland, I love Ottavino, and I think McGee's decent. That's a good play for us. The pitching staff, I really do like John Gray. I think John Gray is on the cusp of being a great pitcher. Last year, look at these numbers, 168 innings, 153 hits. That's a very low number. And he had 185 strikeouts. That's way more than 1 per inning. Now, his ERA was too high, and his whip was okay. But this guy he's 25 years old. It's going to get better. And I think here's the thing. You've got the stigma. Oh, Coors Field, Colorado pitcher. I don't want him. That's fine. I'll take him for $3. Maybe 4. People aren't going to pay 6 or 7 because he's a Colorado pitcher. But you should. I like John Gray. I might go up to $5 or $6 on him. Chad Bettis, I want no part of whatsoever. None. Zero. Nada. Tyler Chatwood, he's not the Tyler I want. I like Tyler Chatwood. I think he's playing for a contract, but I don't love Tyler Chatwood. I like him. But the guy I do like is Tyler Anderson. I think this is the good number 2 starter here. He throws the ball, keeps the ball down. He's a lock for this rotation. I think he can get us more strikeouts than we've seen, but I don't consider him a strikeout pitcher. But his strikeout to walk ratio was 99 to 28. I can live with that. He had more hits than innings pitched. I don't love that. But I think this is a kid who's getting better. And I think that the Rockies are a good team with a good bullpen. So what I'm hoping to get out of Tyler Anderson is I hope he goes about, I would say, 5 to 6 innings per game, gets me the win, and then I'm hoping that the bullpen holds the win. If that happens, I'll be pretty darn happy. I will be. Okay? So that's what I'm looking to happen there. But right now, you know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for you to join the Scout Army. I'm looking for you to be a member of Scout Fantasy. I'm looking for you to be a high-stakes winner. I'm looking for you to be your seasonal league champ. And you're going to join that by joining the Scout Army. Enter the promo code ROTO. That's ROTO. You pay for 1 month, you get 2 more for free. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Pay for 1 month, you get 2 more for free. You get access to myself, Dr. Roto, Sean Childs, Adam Ronas, 3 of the top guys in the industry. And then you get access to all our other friends. Cappy and Kick for hockey, Casey for MMA, Ryan Barrow for PGA, Nate Weitzer for NBA. We have our NBA optimizer. We have a lot going on at Scout Fantasy. I want you to be a part of it. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Look for me in the message boards at Scout Fantasy. We got a lot to do. We got to get you to a fantasy championship, guys. We're going to do it the best way we can. So have a great one. Be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!